Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel and thanks for logging on. If you enjoy these videos, do me a favor and subscribe to our YouTube channel right here at Watchbox Reviews. I would really appreciate it and I promise to update daily. If you love this watch, you could see it and you could purchase it on our website, thewatchbox.com. Today we're discussing a lovely 1500 piece grade 5 titanium limited edition from 2007, the forward-looking and still impressive Jaeger LeCoultre Master Compressor Diving GMT, part of a family of dedicated sports watches, divers, that debuted back then. These were timepieces that wanted nothing to do with vintage tribute. They were handsome, with style that's held up well in the more than a decade since. They were impressively spec'd and highly capable. From a technical standpoint, few watches on the pre-owned market give you more capability for less money. Now, there were two versions of this watch. One was a 46mm, one was 44. The 44 is the watch that you see here, and it wears well on my 16cm circumference wrist. This is a purposefully large watch, as it has a stable planted feel on the wrist, spanning 52mm lug-to-lug with a 22mm strap width, and the timepiece is reasonably slim, though not particularly thin overall. 16mm is reasonable for a 1000-meter GMT automatic diver, and it will fit underneath jacket cuffs, just not dress shirts. The watch in grade 5 titanium is feather light and hypoallergenic on the wrist, and I mentioned it's purposefully large, and so it is. Highly legible. This is the kind of watch that you can read from across the room day or night. Now, taking a quick look at the accessories, JLC made one hell of a strap back then. This rivals Panerai best. You can see there's a bellows style flexibility built in. On the underside, there's a little bit of a channel. You can't quite see it, but there's a little bit of a hollow and a recess that allows the wrist to vent, first through the bellows and then through the actual recession on both sides of the strap itself. It's not as evident as, for example, perforations, but it does create an air pocket to let the wrist breathe. There's a matching grade 5 titanium pin buckle with polished flanks and satin top, and then the case band is simple but strong, with the lugs thoughtfully designed to break out from the mid-case instead of blending them in, as you'll see with, for example, Omega Seamaster or Rolex Submariner or Sea Dweller lugs. You can see that here they really do stick out from the case, breaking up the expanse of titanium in the flank. There's also a wonderful contrast between the longitudinal satin finish of the case band and the vertical satin finish of the lugs. Of course, this is grade 5 tie, so you can polish it up, and it has a lovely bevel, an expanding bevel, on each of the 4 lugs, and these bevels are wonderfully intact on this example. Rubber-coated crown, and as you can see, the Jaeger LeCoultre compressor crown system. It's color-coded. White you're tight, blue you're through. But the thing is, and I will demonstrate how this works, you lock the system in place. Now you have 1000 meters of water resistance, and it simply compresses the seal, compresses and decompresses. Instead of threading a stem through the seal, which can degrade the seal, this one just compresses and decompresses. So the watch retains its water resistance longer, but the fact is it's also a lot easier to manipulate this crown when your hands are wet, sweaty, or gloved than it is to grasp a small screw-down crown between shouldered crown guards. So it's a very simple system. Blue you're through, white you're tight, and immediate access to winding and setting functions. Now the watch is a GMT, and you have an intermediate crown position where you can set that hour hand independently, and you can actually drive the date in either direction. So it's a very simple system that also features hacking or stop seconds, and now everything including the GMT hand, which is a 24-hour format, will move in sync. The dial is a matte black to resist glare, just as the watch is satin finished to reduce glare. The indices and the numerals are inspired by the Jaeger LeCoultre Polaris 1968, so this is the only vintage nod that you'll find on the watch, and they are applique indices and numerals, so it's a high-grade watch dial. The bezel is also of high grade, with black lacquer within the wells, as well as the first 15 minutes, and you can see outboard an alternately satin finished and polished knurling. The Detent sounds excellent, and it feels just as good. Have a listen. It's chunky, it's sharp, and it's distinct. It's almost like Jaeger LeCoultre watchmakers went to town on the Panerai Luminor submersibles and the Doxa subs and got a really good sense of how a dive bezel should feel and sound before they put this watch together. Now the watch does have a little bit of a quirk on the dial side. You'll note that there is some sort of an aperture, not clearly a complication, down at 6 o'clock, and that is the constant seconds indicator, and essentially it changes its color and it changes its shape. Part of the ISO 6425 definition of a dive watch The statute says you must have a constant operation indicator so the diver knows prior to the dive whether the watch is running, and that's exactly what it is. That is a constant operation indicator, not a seconds display in the traditional sense. Underneath the caseback, which features the geosphere motif, you have a JLC caliber 975D. The 975D is based on the Auto Tractor, which prior to the 770 series was JLC's newest and toughest caliber family. This was important because during the 1990s, IWC used the JLC 889 automatic in sports watches and found out it just wasn't well suited for high impact and abuse. The 975 series absolutely is. It's thick. It features a full balance bridge with a free-sprung index and a hairspring laser welded at the stud and the collet. Those three features given the watch a great deal of shock resistance. Unidirectional automatic winding with ceramic rotor bearings for efficiency and low maintenance, 48-hour power reserve, 28,800 vibration per hour beat rate, 12 and 24-hour dual independent time zones, 29 joules, and of course the Master 1000 hours test, which is a fully cased up test of chronometry, water resistance, shock resistance, winding efficiency, and power reserve that lasts, wait for it, 1000 hours. So this is not just a tough and precise movement, it has been independently tested as a fully cased up watch, so the person who cases it up doesn't get to run the tests. It goes through a battery separately at Jaeger LeCoultre, and the Master 1000 hours control in the early 1990s really became influential as one of the first major in-house tests to go above and beyond the COSC, so you continue to get a lot of value with the watch bearing the 1000 hours control signature, and with a tough movement designed for sports watch applications, it's both robust and accurate. See this one and make it yours on the watch box. And we're back with the Master Compressor Diving GMT. Note that the constant seconds indicator is also loomed.